Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Charlie. On today's episode, I'm going to be showing y'all how to make my delicious pinto beans and rice with D&D smoked sausage and smoked neck bones. Now, in New Orleans, we're known for our beans and rice dishes, like red beans and rice, and butter beans or lima beans and rice. In this case, we use pinto beans, and we also add seasoning along with our smoked neck bones and our D&D smoked sausage, and we cook that down in a rich and flavorful, well-seasoned pork stock until it's tender. And of course, we serve it over a bed of rice before serving. This recipe is pretty simple to make. It's affordable. It serves quite a few people. You can get about 8 to 10 or possibly more servings out of it. It's creamy, well-seasoned, and absolutely delicious. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, here's all you'll need to make your New Orleans style pinto beans and rice with smoked sausage and smoked neck bones. Let's get started with our ingredients. You'll need 1 pound of Camilla pinto beans, and along with that you'll need 2 pounds of smoked neck bones. You can also use smoked turkey as well. 1 pound of double D smoked sausage. In New Orleans we just say D&D smoked sausage. You can use any type of long grain rice. I'm going to be using jasmine rice. Salted butter, and for your seasonings you will need 1 medium-sized yellow onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic, some fresh parsley, and bay leaves. And for your additional seasonings you'll need some salt, black pepper, Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. If you don't have this, you can use the Zatarain's Creole seasoning or the Sapper Mama Cajun seasoning. You will also need some Chef Paul Prudhomme's Poetry Magic, some granulated onion, and granulated garlic. And there we have it. Alright, let's get straight to it. Chop 1 medium-sized yellow onion. Next, I'm going to rinse off my celery, my green bell pepper, and my parsley off with cold water. Chop 2 ribs of celery. Make sure you remove the core out of the center of your bell pepper before you chop it. Chop half of a green bell pepper. Here I have 3 cloves of garlic. I've cut them in half. Take a garlic press and press the garlic. And there we go. Here we have our fresh parsley. I'm going to take a knife and cut off a small amount of that parsley off. Chop the parsley really well until it resembles coarse crumbs. Here we have our 1 pound of D&D smoked sausage. Take a knife and cut the smoked sausage into about 3/16 of an inch thick slices. Alright, let's get started with sorting our beans. So in a shallow bowl, add a small amount of the pinto beans into the bowl. Take your hand and carefully sort through the beans. Remove any beans that are broken or discolored. Discard those. It's very important that you sort through the beans really well, double and triple check, because sometimes they may have small particles or even rocks in the beans, and we don't want that. So you want to make sure that you sort through the beans really good. Next, you're going to take the beans and add them into this large 8-quart pot. Add 10 cups of water into the pot. Shake the pot slightly to make the beans even. Cover the pot with a lid. Now, in traditional New Orleans fashion, we're going to let the beans soak for about 2 to 4 hours. This reduces the overall cooking time of the beans. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright, let's get started with making our smoked pork stock along with cooking our neck bones. So in this large 8-quart pot, I've added my 2 pounds of smoked neck bones in there. Add 2 1/2 quarts of water. Cover with a lid. Let this simmer for 1 hour. Alright, it's been about 1 hour now. Let's check on our neck bones. Now at this stage, the neck bones are not necessarily tender at this time. It still needs about another hour of cooking time. But as you can see, that pork stock looks like milk a little bit. That's exactly what you want. Now you're going to go ahead and turn your fire off. Let this cool for 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, our pork stock has cooled. Take some tongs and remove the neck bones from out of the stock and place them into a shallow bowl. As for our leftover pork stock, you should have about 5 1/2 cups of pork stock left over. Now the amount of pork stock will vary. It could be more or less. It doesn't really matter. Alright, here we have a mesh strainer with a large bowl underneath it. Take your pinto beans with the water you soaked them in and add it into the mesh strainer. Remove the mesh strainer with the pinto beans out of the large bowl and give it a quick shake to drain some of the liquid, and set the mesh strainer with the pinto beans in it on the side. Now in this large bowl you should have 10 cups of water that you soaked the beans in. I'm going to remove 5 1/2 cups. That's the same amount of the pork stock that I have. I'm going to remove the 5 1/2 cups of the water from the bowl, and I'm going to discard it. Now for example, if it's less, let's say for instance, if it's 4 1/2 cups of pork stock, what you do is you remove 4 1/2 cups of the water and discard it. That's just an example. And this is the amount of water that we have left over here. Now we're going to replace that 5 1/2 cups of the water that we discarded with the 5 1/2 cups of our smoked pork stock. We're going to add that into the bowl. Give this a quick stir. And once done, again, you should have about 10 cups of pork stock. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright, let's get started with cooking our pinto beans. So in this large 8-quart pot, add your pinto beans right on in there, followed by your 10 cups of pork stock. Take some tongs and add your pork neck bones right on in there. And for your seasonings, add 2 cups of chopped yellow onion, 1 1/2 cups of chopped celery, 1 cup of chopped green bell pepper, and your 3 cloves of pressed garlic. Stir all your ingredients together. And for your additional seasonings, add a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, a 1/2 teaspoon of Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, 1 teaspoon of Chef Paul Prud'homme's Poetry Magic, 3 tablespoons of fresh parsley, and 5 bay leaves. Stir all your ingredients together. And of course, I forgot to add the granulated onion and garlic. Add a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated onion and a 1/2 teaspoon of granulated garlic. Cover with a lid. Let this simmer for 1 hour and 10 minutes, stirring every 15 minutes. You don't have to stir it that much. The objective here is to let the beans cook. Alright, it's been about 1 hour and 10 minutes now. Let's check on our beans. And oh man, it is smelling real good right about now. Add your chopped smoked sausage right on in there. Give this a quick stir. Cover with a lid. Let this simmer for 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes now. And after 1 hour and 25 minutes total cooking time, and our pinto beans are now done. Now you're going to go ahead and turn your fire off. Now for the secret step, as the mixture cools, add 3 tablespoons of salted butter right on in there. Cover the pot and let the butter melt. Okay, our butter has melted. Give this one last final quick stir. And we're done. Now for some quick tips. The mixture will thicken as it cools. Let this cool for about 30 to 45 minutes before serving. And for best results, serve this the very next day so that way the flavors can settle and increase overnight. Preheat your fire to medium heat. Alright, let's get started with cooking our rice. So in this medium-sized 4-quart pot, I've added 2 quarts of water. Add 1 1/2 cups of jasmine or any type of long grain rice of your choosing. Give this a quick stir. Let this simmer for 7 minutes, stirring occasionally. Alright, it's been about 7 minutes now. Going to get this one last final quick stir. Make sure you taste test your rice to ensure that it is cooked. Add your rice into a mesh strainer. Be very careful as this is very hot. Rinse the rice off with cold water. Return the mesh strainer with the rice in it back on top of your pot. Put a lid on top. Let the rice set for about 15 to 25 minutes. And after that, it is ready to be served. Here is the final presentation. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. New Orleans style pinto beans and rice made by a New Orleans native. If you like my channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell button if you want to be notified of my videos. I have an official website for all of my recipes, including this one. Go to www.charliethecookandrews.com. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and on Twitter under the name Charlie the Cook Andrews. Stay tuned as Charlie's Taste Test is coming up next. Can't wait. Now it's time to go ahead and take a bite. I got just about everything on my spoon. Yes. Boy, the flavor of this is outstanding. Y'all, I can't describe it. Only thing I can tell y'all that it is really good. I mean, the beans are nice and creamy and tender. The neck bones are nice and tender. And that smoked sausage with them seasonings. I mean, y'all, red beans and rice is good. Butter beans and rice is good. Lima beans and rice is good. But this right here, the pinto beans and rice, my goodness, it is absolutely delicious. I'm telling y'all, try the recipe. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, have a good one. Peace.